So something that people long thought to be impossible finally happened. I am, of course, talking about the Red Dead Redemption remaster that released on the Nintendo Switch and PS4 on August 17th. But going into the game's release, there was some controversy surrounding Rockstar's newest port to the Switch, and I'll get a bit into my thoughts on that. But first, Red Dead Redemption is one of the best games I've ever played. It's certainly in my top 10, maybe even in my top 5 games of all time, even though I'm not the biggest fan of open world games. For me, it takes a special type of open world game to really get me into the world and the side quests, just to keep me interested in it for the 60+ hour long playtime that these sort of games tend to have, you know? But I played through Red Dead Redemption all the way through, not just once, but twice. Back in the day on the PlayStation 3. I never thought, though, that I would see it ported out of that generation. Aside from it being available as a backwards compatible title on the Xbox One, but I definitely never thought I would see the light of day on the Nintendo Switch. And the reason I thought it wouldn't leave the PS3 generation of systems is because, rumor has it, the code behind the game was really bad, which is why it never came to PC back then, and also why it's taken so long to see a remaster. Sort of. But with all of that being the case, while other YouTubers are upset at the lack of new features, some missing DLC, and very little in the way of changes, I'm just here happy that I'm finally able to play the game on a current generation system, and on top of that, a handheld system at that. Previously, the only way that I could have played it was via streaming on my PS4, but I'm not a fan of game streaming, so I opted not to do so. And now I don't have to, when I could just play it natively on the Nintendo Switch. Like, honestly, for me, like, just shut up and enjoy the game, you know? It's been 13 years since the game released on anything, and we all thought that it was in the same situation as Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, where it would never be released outside of the PS3. But now it finally is, so, like, why can't people just enjoy it? But I do see some of the issues. The price point is a bit of a sticky point for me. I don't think it should be priced at $50. I believe 40 USD would have been more appropriate, but for me, the extra 10 is worth it. If you don't agree, that's fine, just don't buy the game. But I do think you'll be missing out on quite the experience. So I've been playing Red Dead Redemption on the Nintendo Switch since it released, and it's basically the same experience as the PS3 game, but it runs at 30 frames per second and at 1080p in docked mode and 720p in handheld mode. The original game ran at 720p, so that bump up to 1080 is quite nice. So far, I haven't noticed any performance dips aside from one crash that happened while transitioning from a cutscene to gameplay. I've also played a bit of Red Dead Redemption 2, and all I can say about that game compared to the first game is that it did not live up to my expectations as far as the gameplay goes. The graphics and all of the glitz and glamour looked nice, but it was nowhere near as fun as the first game. Like, seriously, having to go back to your horse to retrieve your shotgun every single time, watching an animation for every single time you pick something up, like, little details like that are fine, but when you add them to every little scenario, they come together to make one huge pain in the ass that I just did not have fun with, and that's just my opinion. I dropped Red Dead Redemption 2 very early on, whereas with Red Dead Redemption 1, I played it all the way through twice. Okay, 2 times, and I'm not even a fan of open world games, and I'm playing it a 3rd time now on the Nintendo Switch. That's how much better Red Dead Redemption 1 is than Red Dead Redemption 2, so take that however you want. I'm Switchblade, done.